Wow. Well, to tell you, my father was in a gospel quartet. And had been in the gospel quartet, all his homies and his friends, they was in the quartet. And he was really like the utility man. He could sing, he sing all the parts, he played guitar, and he did the sounds. He probably wasn't the most talented singer, but he can do everything. So, he got all his sons and his uncles, cousins, all get together and we form groups. And as little homies, we used to come in and like when they go change clothes, we used to take over at church and play 11, 12 years old, all the cousins. So that got me into music. So, my background is in gospel quartet music, playing guitar and stuff like that. And then my dad made sure we knew how to do everything. We wasn't just going to be a guitarist. He wanted us to know everything. So, then after that, the music was in me. And then I did gospel music for a long, long time. And then, I got hooked up to like Ice Cube and some of these rappers, right? And then, when you get older, you want to move away from the church because you was made to go to church. And then, the Tonys got formed and we watched some of our cousins and homies get famous doing R&B music. So then we tried to do that. We was doing that a little bit, but I was also an athlete. And I got a scholarship to go to San Diego State. And my dad was like, boy, you go to school. That music shit ain't going to be shit. Boy, you go to school. You can play ball. So I go to college to play ball, and then the Tonys get famous. I could have been with them. But anyway, so they get famous, and then back and forth. And I do my time at college. And then I got hurt. And then I went to the military because my brother-in-law was like, yeah, go to the military, get more money. I still wasn't thinking about music. I was more thinking about football. And then the whole time I was in the military, I formed little bands all over Georgia, Germany, everywhere I went. I just had these little bands we played for the Army. And then I got out the military, came home. And my cousin at the time, Charlie Doyle, he was doing Sailboat combination. He was working with Dre. And he had all this equipment. So he used to lock me in the house because he had a lot of kids too. And he used to put me in the house and say, cuz, watch the kids for a little bit. So I learned how to use the equipment. And then I just start producing music. And I just start producing. And my cousins is all famous. They great musicians, artists, or been around top-notch artists for a long time. So I just start producing music and get my own sound. Yeah. Wow, that's funny. Like I said, my cousin was doing songs for people and I was playing on them. And then I started hearing some of the songs that I played on was making it to they projects. But, I didn't know. I didn't know about business or money. I was just happy. And then one of the artists out of the Sailboat compilation, actually the dude is the supervisor in San Francisco right now. He had a rap group and they did pretty good. They wanted a different sound. So he plucked me out of there and I made a couple songs for him and they hit the radio. And I didn't know the business, so that's even how I got the name Rondo, because he knew my name was Ronnie. And he went and he was like, who did this music? He was like, Ron, just call him Rondo. So he called it Rondo, and then after that, I made a few change, right? And I had a little demand for my gospel kind of hip hop R&B sound. And then I was like, hey man, I can make a little change out of it. But then I never really made no change out of it, but I really got a lot of feedback, like people like my sound and if I play my sound today, people dance. I'm not the greatest, but that's how I knew I wanted to do this. I just really wanted to do it after that. But really, I was like I was the cheapest person in and out the studio, and they knew I could play, and they plucked me out, and it turned out good. Yeah. Yeah, to keeping on with the story, I was making music for money, charging, $1,500. And, at the time, my daughters was getting a little bigger and they were starting to listen to a lot of music, right? So I did this song. They heard me do it in the living room. They said, oh, Dad, that's going to be bad. And I sold it to somebody. And I told them it was coming out. And when it came out, it was, excuse the expression, bitch, hoe, cussing. I robbed the motherfucker. I was like, what the hell is this? And my daughter's like, Dad, swear you get. I say, hey. And it was just too raunchy for my style. So after that, I stopped selling music to people like that. Just take the music and go do, I start more creating it with them. You know, like, no, you come in, I hear this, you hear this, and then the soul hop thing was born. You know, that's just one how that even thing came. And my kids really keep me in check because they all like music and they end up listening to some of the music I do. So that story kind of just really pops out. Another one is once we got into Mind Seed where Dwayne was there, Dwayne was like, oh, yeah, yeah, this is pretty good. This is pretty good. But when he couldn't go nowhere and he had to keep coming down there, we went from, oh, you can sponsor the studio to let's do something together, small stages. I was like, dude, I've been told you I was dope. He was like, no, I had the chance to see you. So, you know, those two things kind of created my career. It made me stop doing all that hip hop, rap, hard stuff, even though I like that. But when my kids was here to know I made it in the living room, it just, I just couldn't face my daughter saying, you know, bitch, about to have my money or hold where my socks is or some crazy stuff. They just wasn't having that. So those two stories kind of stand out. I tell everybody that's how I changed and start producing my own music and producing my own shows so I can hear my own sound. Well, you know, that's good. You know, Small Stage is really the artist performance platform. We just really want to give the Bay Area artists an opportunity to do stuff better. Do it in a professional. Don't just get up there with 12, you know, because it comes out of the Tony mantra. We're trying to show them the professional side of doing music. You know, don't rap over your lyrics. Have a presence. Be ready. Do sound check. That's what Small Stages was for. It was like a training ground for people to do it. And, you know, we made sure they did it at a high level, no matter what their song was. So if you came to Small Stages, you was going to do it at an industry level, no matter what the song was. So going into 2025, you know, we're going to try to broaden the audience because the audience now is mostly Bay Area people. If you can drive to these venues, you're going to see it. You know, so we're going to try next year, we're going to try to bring that, you know, nationwide. You know, you may still see it conducted in the Bay Area in these venues, but we want to make sure we can put it out for the masses, you know, because with the technology, we can get people from all over the world to grade it, to participate, you know. So yeah, 2025 is going to be more of a globalized thing, not a local thing where Tuesday night, Thursday night, let's go watch Small Stages and have a good time. We want to bring that to everywhere. I think we got good enough on how we produce it, how it moves, that we can now share it with a lot of other people and get a lot of other artists from all over the world to participate. That's the way that's going to go. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. There's been a few, you know. Ooh, wow. You know, artists are temperamental, and you know, one minute you know it's kind of hard to explain. Artists when they get to a certain level, they begin to morphosize and turn into somebody else. You know, their alter ego on stage becomes who they are behind the scenes. So, you know, when you know somebody, you work with somebody so long, and then, you know, they go get a taste of their stardom and come back, they kind of, you know, kind of treat you different. And, you know, one of my main songs that was a hit for me was I'm Too Grown for This Shit. You know, in fact, we both too grown for this shit because I really don't tolerate people talking to me any kind of way. I don't give a damn how many Grammys you got. I'm sorry. I just ain't never been built like that. So you know, dealing with artists like that, that kind of story kind of humbles you. You know, one minute you playing with the dog and everything's cool, and the next minute it's like, are you doing this? Like, hold on, player, what happened? We just got blasted 2 minutes ago. You know, that's one story. And then being in this business, though, you know, Dave, you got to, you know, I'm an OG, I'm nice. You know, I try to treat everybody fairly, but then some people think they can do weird things to get in the game. Weird things. You know, I'm a man, so women use sexual advances towards me, and and in my younger days, I used to be like, "Hey, no, that was all right," but now I'm like, this in the last 12 years has strictly been about the business and the professionalism. So when girls throw themselves at you, and then me being a friendly person, I probably take it too much. But then when I cut it off, then I'm like the meanest old black homie in the world. But look, I don't want to do nothing. I want to do music. So those are the stories I can tell behind the scene. You ain't got enough time for them stories there, Dave. But those stories like that, watching A-list artists change, and just the unwanted attention you get in this position, whether you're doing good music or you're doing good shows or you just a good person, the unwanted attention you got sometimes, that's a story for you one day, you know. Well, I would tell them, I put it like this, and this probably gets me in trouble. Artists be good. They be sing they face off, Dave. Woo, fine as frog hairs too. Sing nothing about the business. They got no know that this music game is truly a business. So at this stage of our life, we see tremendous talent all over the world. But if you don't have the business savvy and know how the business is, that doesn't really matter to a lot of people no more. Sure, there's a lot of gimmicky people making music right now. I mean, there's a lot of untalented people got Grammys. Don't get me wrong, but but that's just the one-offs. That's like the people who actually went to Mars. That's not too many. The real talent lasts years. And so if you're going to come into this business, I would study the business, understand your worth, take marketing, and then use your gift, whatever that gift is. And if you're a music producer, they got all these nice little toys and whistles that you could just play and make great music. Learn to play a real instrument, just one guitar, and then use that with your lovely stuff you can buy, and then you be original. So artists, you trying to come in this game, learn the business first. Hone your skills and practice. Practice whatever. If you don't practice, you faking the phone. This ain't, practice your craft and home it in. Know the business, learn the instrument, and practice. You may be the next Sexy Red, but you may not. Who knows? That has been coming to us to do like master classes and mentor. And what we do now, this is funny, because the people who come in small stages and got the business, got the market, and think about it. First of all, they use small stages to their benefit. They practice their stuff, and when they up there with small stage and that professional, they film it and they critique themselves. Those, they keep coming back to us, and those are just straight up mentors because we just mentor them because we see they already run it. We don't want to drag nobody. But if you already running and we running and you next, we gonna run with you. And then when you hit a left, you hit a left. But we ain't dragging nobody with them, you know what I'm saying? So there's by participating in small stages, when you show that growth, we pay attention to everything. Who comes to see you, how you perform, how you practice. We instantly start mentoring you. And then you would do things like those other artists. They hire us to go do their show with them. I've been hired, a small stage has probably been hired by 7 artists. We want that same vibe when I do my show over here. We want the band, we want set it up for me. And we do that. But coming back to your question, we do want to do master classes. We want to kind of explain the real business, the part of the business that an artist needs to know. We want to do that. That's another thing we're going to do in 2025, We're going to break down behind the scene, how you get everything together, how you have your music ready, how you have your EPK, how you get all this ready. So standing at the door when someone ready, you just got to like, here we go, what you want me to do? So we're going to continue to do that because small stages really tell you it's never been about none of the musicians or myself making money. We get paid to do this. If we ain't getting rich and buying no houses doing it, but it pays it pays for itself. We had to leave a little bit, but we really OGs trying to give back. If you remember our first show, it was called Pass the Gift. And that was because we felt we had the gift. And we want to pass it to the worthy ones, not just because you came through there and you did, motherfucker. Gee, they truly say like, so what? But if you worthy, meaning the business and you understand and you trying to promote yourself and you bring in a crowd and you taking good, then we was passing the gift to them. So, and I thought about bringing Passive Gift back. That was a name me and on stage came up with. So that one right there, you with that to pass the gift. Might thinking about doing that mentorship like that. But I do know our musicians, LJ, Mike, they're going to be doing some master class on music production and piano playing. How you learn the people's music, how you compose, and then they're going to be using all the DAWs that they use, Logic, Pro Tools. They're going to be showing people how to do that in a professional stance. They'll be getting, that actually starts in February, somebody be doing, we be probably having y'all film it. And it goes down at Jeffrey's. I mean, it's going to be bad. They kind of got me involved because they knew I was going to do that, and I knew how to do X, Y. Plus, all the keyboard players I know or I've mentored them. So they're like, yo, Slick, can you do them for me? So, yeah, master class is coming. You can always reach out to us, on our social medias that Dave and them can put them up. If you reach out and you're in the Bay, I mean, even if we don't have a small stage episode going on, we always having band practice or we always here in the lab creating. We ain't looking for much. If you really about it, we about it too. And we can offer our services to you. So yeah, please tap in. Yeah, we really, and it's good to have a good freeway. You gotta have a freeway to get all this going. So, hey, y'all out there, look for this stuff, and it's going to be on this network right here. But look for some of that stuff. Look for the master class, and I try to figure out a way that you can connect to small stages or what we doing, so you too can at least be pushed in the right direction, because we ain't promised nobody no deals. Nobody gonna get signed by Prince. We ain't promised none of that, but we do promise that we're gonna put you in the best stages, the best environment to succeed with the top shelf people around you. So if you got it, it'll go. You know what I mean, Dave?